Hey, Cass, what's happening?
Hey, beautiful people. Mwah. Love you all. Thanks again for the well wishes. What a difference a week makes. I feel much better. It's Saturday.
You know, every time I come up here on this front porch, I see the Catio down here. Built that Catio a few years back for the cats. So there's a pet door in the window. They can go outside anytime they want. But it reminds me when I was a kid, because we had a back porch similar to this. And instead of, being a screened in thing like that, we had a storage room attached to our porch. And it had solid walls on it, and all of the lawn furniture was stored out there. I don't know, just a bunch of junk. And at that point, I was getting kind of tired of sharing a room with my brother, which I had done for many, many years, and decided that I was going to clean that room out and get all the junk out of there and fix it up and turn that into my bedroom. Well, my grandfather came over and he helped me. We picked up some paneling at the hardware store. We put some insulation in there, and we put some real nice wood grain paneling up around the walls and turned it into a pretty nice little bedroom for me. Now, it was pretty handy for me because, the access was outside on the porch and it wasn't connected into the house anyway. So, good for me. I could come and go anytime I wanted, or that was my kind of one of my plans anyways, and it worked to a degree. Of course, I don't think my parents were real strict on me coming and going anyways. They pretty much let me do whatever I wanted to do in that regard, when I was a teenager anyway. But I had that room and fixed it all up, and then at that time I was really starting to get into music, really liking my rock and roll. I had a 8-track player in my car and was always listening to tunes, and I wanted a stereo system, something that could really, give me some good sound. Well, I went to the local stereo shop in town, and I bought a Panasonic turntable with a AM/FM radio, and I still have that right here today. Nice little unit, turntable up here on the top and receiver down below. And it just came with the smaller stock speakers, so it was pretty cool. It had some nice sound, but I wanted more. I wanted more of a boom, So I went back to the stereo store, and I told the guy, what I had bought. I got this Panasonic turntable, and I wanted some speakers that would really complement it and have some good sound. Well, he said, well, I have these speakers here. I had 2 of these Fisher XP12s, and I got one there and obviously one over here. He said those are going to give you some really, really high quality sound. But he said, remember, those speakers take a lot more to push the sound out of, so you're going to need an amp to go with that. So I walked out of there spending a pretty good penny. I bought the 2 speakers, and I bought a Sansui amp, and I wired it all together into my stereo system there. So I got the amp here, cassette player, and the turntable and receiver that really packs a punch with the speakers. Now, the system's really seen its better day, but it still sounds the same today. Well, I had that in that little tiny room back there, and I could really crank up the tunes then. Oh, it was beautiful. I mean, you couldn't even hear yourself think. It was like going to a concert. And that was quick to attract all my buddies too, because they enjoyed coming down there and listening to some good sound too. Well, one of the things I remember I always enjoyed was Friday afternoon, like 5 o'clock, Friday afternoon, on the money, 5 o'clock, we always listened to WMMS FM radio. And in Cleveland, Ohio, that was the home of rock and roll. Cleveland, Ohio, that was a big city for rock and roll. A lot of rock and rollers came over from Britain and played in Cleveland, so it was renowned for their cutting-edge rock music. But the local station, WMMS, who was a rock and roll station, every Friday at 5 o'clock, this guy by the name of Maurice Saul would ring in the Friday, and he would go through this whole routine. I remember he would say something like, it's Friday, and we're gonna get down. He would carry on for like 5 minutes. We gotta get down. He would carry on like that. And you would listen to that, and then when he was finally done with his routine, they would go right into Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run and play that through to the end. And that was the intro to Friday. And for me as a teenager, it always meant hanging out with the boys and getting in trouble. Now, also there in my room, I had a huge collection of record albums. I probably had 100 or more record albums in there, everything you could think of. One of my favorite British rock groups was Mott the Hoople, and I had a collection of their record albums. My buddies all loved listening to that too, but also things like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Joe Walsh, The Doors, The Who. I mean, we had all of that stuff. And Friday night, or any night for that matters, that all the boys came down to visit, we'd hang out, and it was like listening to a concert with just about anything you could think of. And we would crank it up. Now, I was really surprised because my dad, he didn't seem to be, too worried about us turning the music up. He never complained a whole lot, and I think he was just glad to know that we were safe there and that we were staying out of trouble.
I could not play music at home, let alone loud music. My dad worked for the illuminating company, and he worked different shifts. Sometimes he'd be on first shift, which was daytime, sometimes second shift, sometimes third. So we always had to keep quiet in the house. So a lot of times I would just go get in my car and I'd ride around through the park. I'd blast the radio station, Wixie 1260. I had an 8-track cassette, The Doors. I know I'm giving my age away really bad here. And people would laugh at me because I liked my AM radio. I would listen to the Monkees, and I would listen to Paul Revere and the Raiders, and Gloria Gaynor, and my girlfriend and I would get together and we'd take our hairbrushes and we'd be in her room playing the music at her house and singing like we were the rock stars, singing and dancing. Oh, it was such fun.
Oh, yeah, that's funny because, when we used to hang out in that, we called it the back room, or we had a couple other names for it. It was like our little clubhouse. We used to play our air guitar in there, like we were rock stars too. Jump around like we were playing guitars to Led Zeppelin or whatever. Oh, what I could do to bring those days back again. That was some really good memories.
That was fun.
Now, even today, and thanks to my wife, because she's still a rock and roller, and today being Saturday, we did our housework, our chores this morning, and she cranks the radio up, rock and roll music, and she's dancing around with her broom, like it's a
Singing.
Microphone.
You just can't stop,
Yeah, we still know how to have fun, and we still know how to rock and roll. Yeah, in our older age, too, loud concerts and crowds, we're not too not too fond of that anymore.
I can't believe your dad let you play that music. He wasn't strict. My dad was really strict.
Well, my dad was pretty religious, and that was, as we were told, some of that music was devil music. But I don't know. I think my dad was just happy that he could hear the music and knew that I was home and staying out of trouble. I think that was a key right there.
I guess when you have daughters, being a dad is much different. You're much more strict.
Yeah.
My dad, once I got this new car and was tied down with the payment and I had to live at home, I would pull in from work into the garage, into my spot, because I had a new car. He would close the garage door, move his car behind me, and I was going nowhere the rest of the night. So I guess that's how it is when you have daughters.
Once I got a car, Friday nights, all my buddies came down. We'd all pile in that car and we'd go out cruising.
I would have to ask him to move his car so I could go to the drugstore or something. He wanted to know, what are you getting? He tracked the mileage on my car.
Oh boy, that's a little over the top.
He would mark the mileage down and want to know where. I thought you were going to the drugstore. Where did you go 45 miles?
Oh boy.
And if someone came to pick me up for a date, he would send one of my younger siblings out the back sliding door to go around to the front and get the license number of the vehicle and what kind of vehicle, if it said Impala on it or Cutlass or whatever, so he would know in case I didn't come home.
It's a good thing your dad wasn't around when I met her, because he probably would have booted me to the curb real quick.
Oh my gosh, I would have been in big trouble. He was very strict, very strict. We had curfews. You had to be home when he said. If not, now I have a sister that's 7 years older. She got in a car accident and she asked the cops if they could arrest her dad, because once he found out, he was going to go berserk, and the cops were like, unfortunately not.
Well, that being said, every once in a while I would add the popular music to the videos, but with YouTube and their strict policies, they'll ping you on that real quick, and you'll be getting a email saying that you're in a copyright infringement if you use copyrighted music. So I try to keep that off of my videos for now, keep us out of trouble. Well, that's it for today, cats. Hope you liked the video. Cleveland rocks.
We're kind of curious. Leave us a comment below what kind of music you listened to then when you were young, what you listen to now. Give us a thumbs up, share us, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.